All right, it's your friendly neighborhood amazing atheist, and why the fuck not? 2 videos in a day. It's been a pretty spotty month of content from me in terms of delivery, so why the fuck not give you guys 2 videos in a day? Unfortunately, probably no one's going to agree with me on this one. I mean, I'm looking at the tomatometer here. Captain America: Civil War, 89% certified fresh from critics. 91% of the audience liked it. Well, I guess I'm speaking to the 11% of critics and 9% of audience that thought it sucked, because I thought it sucked. Now, let me just make things clear. I understand a lot of people love this movie. I understand a lot of people think this is a great movie and stuff, and I could certainly see why people would enjoy it. I don't look at this movie and say this is terrible, or that I don't understand how anyone could like this movie. I'm just saying that I didn't like it. So please don't get all butthurt and offended, like, oh man, fuck you, this Civil War, you just don't understand. I do understand, all right? But let me just tell you why I didn't care for it. And let me just say, going in, I wanted to like it. I like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I've liked many of the movies they've come out with. Probably about 70-80% of them I've enjoyed. And I really thought this was going to be one of the ones I was going to enjoy incredibly. Maybe I went in there with my expectations too high for this movie, because in a lot of ways it just didn't live up to the story I had in my head. Now, you could say that's not the proper criteria to judge a movie. You should judge a movie based on what it was trying to do rather than what you think it should have done. And that's a fair point. I don't particularly hold to that style of film criticism. If I'm sitting there, the dumbass audience, and I'm thinking of ways it could have been done better, that's a problem for me. Because if I'm watching a really good movie, I don't have those thoughts. So I guess I should get into some of these reasons. I'm not going to go bore you guys with infinite amount of detail about why I didn't like this movie. I'm just going to give you a few key things that really bugged me. So, spoilers from this point forward. If you don't want it spoiled, then, maybe come back and watch this later. So the events of Civil War are kind of promulgated by this event where Captain America and Scarlet Witch and Wingman, whatever the fuck his name is, and, a bunch of other people that are the quote-unquote new Avengers, read lamer Avengers. They're trying to foil some vague villain that it doesn't matter because he plays no part in the movie beyond this scene. He's trying to steal some kind of viral weapon from this country, from a remarkably barely protected facility. And he succeeds, and he gets the fucking, oh shit, he's got the horrible virus or whatever it is, and it could kill millions, and the drill. So they're chasing him down, and he confronts Captain America, and he distracts Captain America with some kind of banter, and while Captain America's distracted, this guy pulls the self-destruct shit, like he's gonna blow himself up just to kill Captain America. And Scarlet Witch sees it in time and stops the explosion using her psychic powers and basically flings this dude up in the air to where he'll be away from the captain and also a bunch of people standing around the streets. When she does this, midway up, she loses control of the explosion and a nearby building is severely damaged, leading to, I think, the deaths of 12 people, maybe 13, somewhere around there, and injured 70 other ones. And, Scarlet Witch, of course, very distraught that she had killed these people and stuff, and the event is so publicized that it leads to the United Nations deciding that superheroes need more supervision. And this kind of tears the group apart, the Avengers and all the the notable Marvel heroes, except for Thor and Hulk, who are not in it. It kind of puts them on different sides of this issue. Like, some don't want to register for this, they don't want to approve these new accords, and others do want to approve the new accords, and, they want the governments of the world to basically preside over the Avengers and to tell them, to give them authorization for what they're doing and so on and so forth. Now, that's kind of interesting. It's kind of an interesting setup, but here's a few problems with that setup. The obvious argument that the Avengers would make in that scenario is, yeah, okay, we were battling a supervillain and there were some civilian casualties, and that is unfortunate. However, we were working to prevent him from securing a deadly virus that could kill millions of people. Also, remember that time we saved the entire world? What am I talking about? That time. Remember those multiple times where we saved the entire world from some kind of crazy shit going down? With the fucking fate of the world hanging in the balance. The only thing that stood between you, as in the entire human species, and the precipice of death was us. So yeah, we accidentally killed 12 people. Sad, tragic, should never have happened. We should take measures to ensure that it doesn't happen again. But let's not lose sight of the fucking bigger picture here. I mean, in the previous Captain America movie, it was uncovered that Hydra, a fucking secret Nazi organization, was still around and had infiltrated the highest levels of government. So, with that being the case, does it make any sense to put the Avengers under the purview of the government? No, it doesn't. But, that argument that I just made, which is how I would feel in the situation, never advanced in this movie. Never mentioned once. Never brought up. Wow. Tony Stark and Captain America, whatever the fuck his name is, Steve, I think. Those two fucks, Captain America and Iron Man, they come fucking to blows over this shit. And all of a sudden, Tony Stark, the guy who was always the rogue, who said, yeah, I privatized world peace, you're welcome. That memorable line from fucking Iron Man 2. This guy who's always flaunted the rules and said fuck authority, all of a sudden, he's a bitch for the government. And why? Because some woman came to him and said, my son was one of the ones killed in the accident. And he had a promising future. And Tony Stark looks at the picture and he's like, I've had a change of heart. Oh. What a silly reason for him to have a change of heart. Did you guys forget that in Avengers Age of Ultron, he literally created Ultron and was responsible for endangering the entire planet? If you're going to make a case for why Tony Stark has undergone a stark, no pun intended, change of character, then why wouldn't you use that? He even mentions it in the movie and then it's a throwaway line like, well, yeah, Ultron, my fault, in fairness, blah, blah, blah. Just like glossing over it. You create, what sense does it make for Tony Stark to create a fucking monster that nearly destroys the world, and he's like, yeah, mistakes happen. But when someone from a team that he's just on and funds accidentally kills 12 people, in a situation where people would have died either way, by the way, because if she'd left the fucking guy on the ground, he'd have blown up and killed everyone in the fucking marketplace. What fucking difference does it make? But that's the thing that's going to make you scratch your head and say, maybe we do need to be reined in a little bit, guys. I mean, why such a piddling small event to put these guys at each other's throats? Wouldn't it have made sense if it was like something way more devastating? Like the fucking Avengers are having some fight over something that's like kind of maybe a little bit on the trivial side for them. And in the process, this, a fucking building falls, like a skyscraper fucking falls to the ground. And like thousands of people die. And it really does like give the audience watching the movie a sense of disquiet. Like, holy shit. The Avengers were responsible for all those deaths. And it wasn't even over something that was worth it. Then you can see there being an authentic rivalry between these two characters. Between Captain America and Iron Man. Because then they would have a fucking reason. You could have the scene, Tony Stark is like cradling a dead child or a dead woman or something like that. And Captain America makes some kind of speech to him about, casualties happen and all this stuff. And Tony Stark looks at him with like teary, angry eyes and is like, no, fuck you, Captain America. You don't understand. We can't be this way. We're supposed to be the heroes. And there's a genuine fucking debate. A debate that's not only happening in the movie, but it's happening in the hearts of the fucking audience watching the movie. They're invested because they've seen that this really is an issue worth discussion, worth fighting over. And from that point, you could have had the conflict escalate and escalate and escalate until these guys are seriously at each other's throats. Because this civil war they set up where you see all the heroes facing off against each other, they're totally pulling their punches through the entire thing. They don't really want to hurt each other because the conflict hasn't escalated to the point where they want to. How is that interesting? It's like almost watching them just, yeah, we're gonna, woo, okay. They're pulling their punches. They're not trying to kill each other. They're not trying to win some actual civil war. They're not trying to decide the fate of how things are going to keep going from that point on. It's all about Captain America protecting Bucky, who has no real character anyway. The Winter Soldier, big fucking deal. Boring in the last movie, boring in this movie. And there's this unnecessary villain thrown in there. And he's just some guy. I know he's supposed to be Baron Zemo, but he's not Baron Zemo. He's not wearing the Baron Zemo costume or anything. He just fucking comes across like some angry, disgruntled guy that's just, I'm pissed at the Avengers. I'm gonna turn them against each other. It's stupid. Why even have him? He's not necessary. The selling point of Civil War is heroes versus heroes. So give them a legitimate conflict. Give them a legitimate fucking debate. Give them a legitimate argument. Make them fight. For real. No punches pulled. We find ourselves on opposite ends of a political issue that affects our lives. And you can make it a dichotomy we're in a fucking election year even, so this shit's in the zeitgeist. Make it establishment versus anti-establishment. Make it libertarian freedom lovers versus nanny staters. Wouldn't that be more compelling? Wouldn't that be a better fucking movie? Maybe I'm judging it too harshly. Maybe that, because they weren't going for that, obviously, I should enjoy what they did with what they had. And maybe I'll watch the movie a few more times with my new lowered expectations, and I'll be able to get more enjoyment out of it. But when I went in there expecting this big epic storyline like I just described to you, and they deliver something so meh, tepid, whatever, it's just not satisfying to me. All right, well, that's why I didn't like it. Please don't just automatically hate me for it. Oh, yeah, and by the way, that is... for once, I know the source of the butt of the day because it's Shadman art. Yeah, we'll do cartoon butts of the day. I don't care. Long as it's not pornographically explicit, send me your butts on there, and I'll fucking consider whatever you send for down there. Cartoons, furries, what have you. Don't give a shit. We'll get a good cross-section of different sorts of asses. It's not just going to be shit to my taste either, because I like big, jiggly asses, and that's mostly what you're going to see, but I know some of you guys out there like smaller butts and shit. We'll feature some of those. Just keep them coming, send them wherever. Twitter is probably the best place. You can just tweet them to me, tweet them at me. Like I said, nothing explicitly pornographic. Got to be clothed and all that. But anyway, yeah, Captain America Civil War, I find it to be an overrated piece of shit. If I'm wrong, let me know why. Thank you. All right. Trying to turn this off again. Oh, shit. This mouse.